Top of this bulletin, we are getting you breaking developments coming in from Bihar, where a 206-meter-long bridge came crashing down in Begusarai district. The bridge was constructed at a cost of 13 crore rupees and was yet to be inaugurated. Fortunately, no casualties have been reported, but it clearly goes on to show that a bridge that was still under construction has collapsed even before being made open for people for their use. Aditya joins us for more details. Aditya, what do we know about the reasons behind this collapse?
Well, exactly. As far as the locals are concerned, they are directly blaming this to the entire corruption involved in the system and how the actual parameters were ignored, construction parameters were ignored by those constructing the bridge. But that being said, the way this has collapsed has actually raised serious questions on the way construction is done in Bihar. And interesting to note here is the fact that even the locals claim that they actually noticed some cracks, some major cracks a couple of days back, and they were actually pondering about how did the cracks emerge even before the bridge was actually put to use. But that being said, the way it has collapsed, it could have caused massive casualty if at all it was underused. So this is something that has been also questioned by the opposition out here.
And also, this had been under construction for 9 years, and after that long a time being devoted, as well as crores of rupees being spent, this is what it eventually ends up being, a crashed bridge in the waters.
Well, exactly. And interestingly, it must be mentioned here is the fact that the people of Sahepur Kamal block of Begusarai, I mean, they had many aspirations connected to this particular bridge, because this particular bridge was supposed to cut short their travel durations for substantial proportion. And that being said, this is something that has actually raised serious questions on the way construction is done and the monitoring is done as well, because there are different departments that actually collaborate to ensure that such constructions, and the fund was actually provided for this particular project by NABARD. There are questions on the way. Even the NABARD officials visited that particular place and the way it was constructed. And interesting to note here is the fact that the locals particularly are raising serious questions on the contractor involved in the entire construction. So that being said, it will be very crucial for us to know after the investigation what actually comes out and who is held guilty for the entire crashing incident.
Right, even as we still worry about what really was the reason behind the collapse of this bridge, Aditya, a common question that would be coming to everybody's mind is the Nitish Kumar's response in this case, because when people die of consuming spurious liquor, for which the sale is responsible, for which lack of proper implementation of prohibition is responsible, and the chief minister then goes on to blame the victims. Fortunately, while in this case there have been no casualties, one is wondering whether the chief minister will again find some scapegoats to blame for. But before we move on, we get a reaction coming in from the local authorities in Begusarai.
ये परियोजना 2016 में शुरू हुई थी, जिसमें पिछले सप्ताह पाया नंबर 2 और 3 के बीच में जो सेगमेंट था उसमें क्रैक प्रतिवेदित हुआ था। तुरंत जिला प्रशासन ने इसमें सक्रियता से उसका स्थल जांच कराया था और जो विभाग के वरीय पदाधिकारी उन लोगों को भी सूचित किया था। शनिवार को विभाग की भी टीम आई थी और उसके बाद आवागमन हम लोगों ने उसमें टेम्परेरी बंद कर दिया था। ये पिछले रविवार को इसको जो क्रैक था उसको फिर ढह गया है उसमें। तो इसमें जो इंजीनियरिंग चीफ और चीफ इंजीनियर और ब्रिज कंस्ट्रक्शन की जो टीम, एक्सपर्ट टीम है, वो विभाग से आके इसका मुआयना कर चुकी है। और क्यों इस तरीके की
गवर्नमेंट सेइंग, हाउ डू दे एक्सप्लेन दिस, और आर दे आल्सो सेइंग कि जस्ट लाइक दे सेड पियोगे तो मरोगे, तो बनेगा तो गिरेगा?
Well, exactly. As far as the government and the departments concerned, if at all we consider them, of course, they have not yet come out with a clear statement on the entire incident. But then there are people from the same government, I mean, different political parties, they are actually now questioning the corruption that is prevalent. We happened to talk to CPI MLA Manoj Manjil, who categorically said that this is nothing but a manifestation of how deep the rot has actually infested into the system.
Right. Thank you, Aditya, for joining us. We'll wait for an explanation. One hopes that the government this time has a cogent explanation for what is happening in the state and doesn't just go on with rhetoric as it has done on multiple occasions. Because remember, how can one forget the loss of lives when it came to the spurious liquor consumption? Over 70 people have died, and the government says we neither have compensation, nor do we have compassion, nor do we order any action against those who are culprits. Guru Prakash of the BJP joins us on the broadcast. So your first reaction?
We have to understand a couple of things first. You see, the government of Bihar has gone crazy. That is the right word, because piyoge to maroge, ul pe chaloge to bhi maroge. That is the sort of sensitivity you have for the people of Bihar. You have to understand, as a chief minister, you have to act as a guardian of the state. एक मुख्यमंत्री आप सिर्फ नहीं है, आप परिवार के मुखिया भी हैं, और ये आपकी संवेदनशीलता है. Corruption has been institutionalized. We have seen in the last couple of days what sort of news we are making the headlines in Bihar and nationally both. The police administration is involved. The hospitals are in a very bad shape, and this is another example of Begusarai. It's a well-crowded area. That bridge was supposed to cater to more than 3,000 people. What is going to happen? Where has the administration gone wrong? You have to understand that the Chief Minister's sole agenda, the only agenda of Mr. Nitish Kumar, is his pursuit of power, his lust for power. मैं मुख्यमंत्री कैसे बना रहूं? मैं अपने उत्तराधिकारी को कैसे घोषित करूं? The self-declared disciples of Ram Manohar Lohia, the self-declared disciples of Jaiprakash Narayan are declaring their successors.
But Mr. Guru Prakash, till just a few months ago, your party was also a part of the government in the state. This bridge might have collapsed today, but it was under construction for 9 years. And obviously, whatever led to its collapse today was in the making for a very long time, even when your government was in power. Who do you blame for this kind of oversight?
You have to understand what happens that when there is a certain sort of a dispensation in power. Why have the crime increased in the last 100 days? The criminals are getting protection and patronage. Similarly, the corrupt officials, the people who are indulging in corruption, they are getting the patronage. जो कानून मंत्री बनता है उनको जेल में जाना पड़ता है, जो शिक्षा मंत्री बनता है उनको सरेंडर करना पड़ता है. This is the mindset of the government. This is the attitude and approach of the government. What can you blame them for? तो प्रशासनिक फेरबदल है ये. मुझे लगता है कि only the government can be blamed and no one else for this case.
Okay, only the government can be blamed. And now I'm joined on the broadcast by Mrityunjay Tiwari of the RJD. Sir, okay, I'm told he's disconnected, but there are some really tough questions that the government right now faces in Bihar. We will get you the answers as soon as they are made available.